Hi, my name is not Cadence, you can call me Anna. This book took me by surprise. I hadn't heard a lot about it before I started reading, but I did hear that it was best to read it without knowing too much about it beforehand. So I didn't really look for proper blurbs or other people's reviews. I just decided to plunge straight in. So if you see my previous September book haul video, you'll see that I bought this along with some others just recently on Booktopia. I decided to read it pretty much before any others once I finished reading The Lord of the Rings. This was the one that I jumped to, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I absolutely loved it. At first when I started reading it, I wasn't too sure if I was gonna really like it or if I might think it was just kind of like okay, but it really kind of got better as I was reading it, and I'm so glad that I decided to read it after all. I just want to quickly mention that for the longest time I had no idea what the picture on the front cover was. In case you are like at that stage and you've just seen it and you're trying to work out what that is, because for me, I thought it was just like a cool kind of like colored cover with no actual image. Like I thought it was an abstract kind of yeah, I sound stupid. But hey, don't be mean to me. If you're at that stage and you have no idea what the front cover is either, it's actually 3 people standing in water. This is water. I didn't know that for the longest time. There was just this moment where I looked at the cover and I just suddenly went, oh, suddenly the image became clear and I could see it. Don't tease me, please. This book has a lot of metaphors. All the way through it, there are just metaphors written. It's written in first person, so the main character talks like in metaphors. She uses a lot of metaphors when she's like recounting things or just describing things. And at first, I kind of thought that it was a bit weird, specifically because the metaphors are so grand, but I ended up really loving it for that. So one of the things you'll notice when you start reading this book is that the main character, Cadence, is an unreliable narrator. Sometimes you'll read something and you go, you don't really know quite what is real and what's not. Once you read the book, you'll understand that a bit more, but I think that just added more depth to this book, specifically because it is called We Were Liars. I don't know, I just think it's cool. I also thought that all of the characters in this book were written really well. At first, there were quite a lot of characters and I was almost like getting confused about who was who and what was what, but I read the book so quickly because it's quite a short book, but I read it so quickly that I didn't really have time to forget too much. But I really loved all of the characters, and like they all had like their own little quirks and things that were just thrown in, and I found that really good. So overall, I have to say it's a great book. I really enjoyed it personally. I felt like the twist at the end was really good as well. I don't want to say anything else because I'm sure you've heard it elsewhere, but this book is best read if you have no idea what's gonna happen or what, you know, anything. So I'm gonna leave that there for the non-spoiler section of this video. So if you have not read it yet, please stop watching. I'm gonna talk about spoilers. I'm literally gonna talk about the actual twist and I don't want it spoiled for you. So if you have not read the book, please leave this video, go read the book, and then you can come back and we can talk about it. Goodbye. Okay, so now there should only be watchers who have read this book watching this video. Oh my goodness. I had no idea. The twist at the end, you know what I'm talking about? The part where we get the truth and she realizes that her 3 best friends are dead. I had no idea that was coming. I had no idea. Right before we get the truth, it's literally telling a story about this evil witch. She's jealous and she ends up getting them to strike the match and they all burn up. And I read that and that's where I stopped for one night. I had to stop reading and I put the book down and I went to sleep and I was like, I really wonder what happens in the end. I had no idea. I read that whole thing and I still didn't know. So the next day I pick up this book just to read the last bit of it, where it's got the truth. We're reading the very end and it says, here's the truth, and it says that they perished in a house fire. And I just kind of went, what? I actually felt really slow for not having figured that out already. So I don't know about you, I don't know if you figured it out sooner or whatever, but it took me literally until they spelled it out, and I think that was amazing. E. Lockhart, well done, because I had no idea. I was completely like, I don't even know what to say, really. The next thing I just want to mention is I can't believe that 2 dogs died. That hurt me so much. I couldn't, like, I was reading it and like there was so much, like, she was dwelling on it and I was like, stop dwelling on it, Katie, I can't do this. I can't dwell on it with you, please, let's just move on. Please, I can't think about that. So I think that books should have disclaimers in the front of them if they kill dogs. Just tell me first, please. I need to know. On a happier note, I want to talk about Gat. I love him. I don't know about you, but I fell in love with him in this book. The way that Katie talks about him, I don't know if it's just because we see him through her her eyes and she is obviously smitten with him. But I completely fell in love with him and I just love him. The way that he like thinks and the way that he wants to make a change, he's such a good person. He died too soon. I'm so sad. And on that note as well, I just want to say that I am so impressed with E. Lockhart for making Gat a person of color and actually talking about it. I got so angry at Katie's grandfather and makes me mad. I don't really know what else to say on that point. I just think it's great for young people to be reading this book and finding out that this is an issue. And if they do have those own prejudices within themselves, that hopefully this book could even start to change them. Obviously it's going to be a work in progress, especially if they're white like me. Yeah, so anyway, in a nutshell, racism sucks. I hate it. I'm glad that people's eyes are being opened in books like this where it points it out. The only real issue that I think I had with the book was the fact that it's called We Were Liars. There was never a story of like, this happened so we called ourselves the liars. They call themselves the liars, but I don't know, there just was never kind of an explanation. And even surrounding the fire at the end, or at the beginning, I should say beginning because it's not really, it happened first. Anyway, even regarding the fire, like no one actively lied about it. Cadence couldn't remember anything, so she couldn't really lie about it. She wasn't even talking about it. She was just trying to find out what happened. And I mean, the other three died, so they couldn't lie about it too soon. I don't really feel like it's a proper issue, but yeah, it's just the main thing I was wondering the whole way through. I was like, okay, but they call themselves the liars and they don't really specifically lie all the time. Whether it was just called that as well because of the main character's love for metaphors. That is all that I think I have to say at the moment about We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I really enjoyed it and I'm already thinking about another reread because it was so good and I want to like reread it all with the knowledge now and go through it and see if I can pick up all the little hints that were thrown in, because there were definitely hints thrown in that I just missed the first time. Like how? Thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it and I'll see you next time. Ciao for now, monkeys! This book has a lot of menopause. This book has menopause.